Herzlich willkommen to Grandma Gila Gets It Going. Tonight I'm going to share a recipe with you, a recipe of German soul food. And of course I'm talking sauerkraut, because you guys know we eat it all the day and we eat it in each region in Germany, and everything's all about sauerkraut. Anyway, that's not true, but I want to share this recipe with you. And first let me show you what we need to prepare a good sauerkraut. Yes, you can take a can of sauerkraut and you can just heat it and call it sauerkraut. But then we wouldn't be into the soul food thing, because there is no soul in heating a can of sauerkraut. If you buy sauerkraut, please try to get a German brand. You can get it in Albertsons, you can get it in Kroger's. You don't need to go to any commissary or whatever. You can get it nearly everywhere nowadays. And please do not buy the American brand, because it's a little bit too much on the vinegar and salt side. So now I'd take a German can of sauerkraut. Now, next thing you need is quince jelly. If you can't get quince jelly, use apple jelly. Quince jelly is available in the United States, and it is usually in those glasses. You might recognize them. They are from Bon Maman. Bon Maman sells a lot of jams and jellies in the States, and one of them is quince jelly. But apple jelly is as good. Next thing is what we need is a big apple or 2 small apples, an onion, and then we need some lard. What I usually use is bacon drippings. This is something you can get at the German butchers. It's bacon drippings with bacon pieces. And I don't know whether you've ever tried it on German bread with a little bit of salt and pepper, and I'm not going to go into that because it's mouth-watering just talking about that. So you would use bacon drippings or pork lard. Then we need bay leaves. I guess most of you might be familiar with bay leaves. Then we need caraway seeds. You can take caraway powder as well if you get it ground caraway, but be careful using it, okay? And then we need juniper berries. Juniper berries are hard to find, but you got those Whole Food stores nowadays, and I would try one of these stores and try to get it. Then you need a little bit of sugar, you need a little bit of vinegar. Don't take any fancy vinegar like apple cider vinegar or balsamico vinegar. Just a regular vinegar will do. And if you are in doubt about it, take rice vinegar, because rice vinegar has a very mild taste as well, and that would be just perfect for your sauerkraut. The next thing you need is instant broth to spice it up. I wouldn't use salt, I would use instant broth. You have no idea how many times I use instant broth instead of salt. It's not only healthier, but the taste is better. So don't take beef broth though, because beef broth is too salty. But what you can get in the States is a vegetable broth, which is instant broth, and it's just perfect. And of course you need meat. I'm not talking about lean meat here. I'm talking about fat meat. I'm talking about pork belly here. I'm talking about cured pork chops. If you don't get cured pork chops, I think you have cured pork knuckles. I think I found those. So put a small pork knuckle in it. I wouldn't use a smoked one, because if it's smoked too much, you add a taste that you do not want in sauerkraut. And this is a leftover of a pork knuckle. My husband ate the good stuff, the skin, the fatty stuff, and he left that bone, and I'm going to put it in the sauerkraut because it adds a lovely taste to the sauerkraut. So now we've got the ingredients. The next thing that I want to do is I'm going to chop the onion, I'm going to peel the apple, and I'm going to chop it. And then I'm going to get back to you guys, and we'll do the second part. Okay, let's get started. The pot is on medium heat, and this is my onion diced. It doesn't have to be in perfect pieces because it'll be cooked by the sauerkraut anyway, so it doesn't make any difference. And this is the apple. I'm saying the apple because even though it was a small one, I just took one apple, so one apple is enough. So I'm going to put it in as well with the onions. And now I'm going to heat it at medium heat until what we call the onions are like glass. So right now they are still white and they'll turn and they will be shiny. So I'm going to leave you again and I'm going to stay here and stir and then we go on. Okay. So here we are, cooking on broken glass onions. No. So if you look at the onions, if you take a closer look, now they've lost their white color and they look a little bit shiny. The tiny brown pieces in there are the onions from the lard I had, so don't get confused. Your onions just have to be shiny. So what you do now is you take 2 big spoonfuls of quince or apple jelly and stir it, that it gets dissolved and that it kind of caramelizes a little bit. A close friend of mine, she told me that she puts sugar or brown sugar at this point in the pot and let it caramelize, which is very good as well. So either do it with the jelly, if you don't have it, just do it with the sugar. And now that it's dissolved, what we do is we add the spices. I usually count and I say, okay, I need about 4 bay leaves and those are 20 juniper berries because people do not like to chew on the berries, so I'd rather count them. You can use a little sachet and put it in as well so that you find them, it's easier. Some people do have that. I do not have it, so I just count it, and if I miscount it, usually my husband gets the juniper berry that he doesn't like. Nobody else, just my husband. It's worth it because I wouldn't complain, he would, so he gets it. So we just put it in. Then we put in some caraway seed. As I said, if you use ground caraway, be very careful. And this is about the amount of caraway I would use. Some people like it more, some people less. I don't know, but it's necessary. Use it, it's better. And then you might want to cut the sauerkraut a bit before you put it in the pot, because then it is in small strips. When you eat it, it's better, it's easier to eat. Put in the sauerkraut. So turn even down the heat a little bit after that. I have a scale from 1 to 3. I was now on 1.5 and I'm going to turn it down until 1 and I'm going to let it heat, because you will see sauerkraut doesn't need a lot of heat to be boiling. So if you turn down the heat, it'll be just simmering, and this is where we want to go. We want to simmer the sauerkraut. It's all about the simmering. And now I just put the meat on top of the sauerkraut. And I'm going to leave it here now for, let's say, 15 to 20 minutes before I try to taste whether it tastes already good or not. But the whole process of simmering will be an hour or something. So don't get confused, but you'll check from time to time. And now just put a lid on it, let it simmer, and we're going to meet in about 15 to 20 minutes and check on the sauerkraut. Okay, we got a saying in Germany that says, viele Köche verderben den Brei. What it means is, if you have, I think there is something similar in English, I don't remember, but anyway, it kind of means if you have too many cooks, it'll just, it won't work, okay? But in that case, having a second cook next to my side, who's holding the camera and helping me with the whole thing, that is Elfie, and it helped because she reminded me, she said, you know what? The cured pork chops, they are already tender enough that you don't want to overcook them and then they'll fall apart. So here we have, listen to the sound. You don't get the smell. We get to get the smell. We get to smell it. So here we have the sauerkraut with the meat and the spices. And now I'm going to try to open that stupid vinegar. You gotta be kidding. Okay. Here I have a little bit of water. Just a little bit of vinegar. It depends on how you like it. Just a little bit of sugar. Again, that is mouth-watering because I could just eat it, you know. It's like a dressing for a salad or something. You pour that in and you add the broth. just a little bit. And then we'll meet again in about 10 minutes, because what we'll do now, we're going to let the whole thing, see, try to do something like that. When you like the food, when it smells good, when your mouth starts watering, try to talk. That's ridiculous. Anyway, so what you want to do is now, after you've put that in, you let it simmer again for about 10 minutes or something. See how the pork belly changed the color? And then you want to taste it, and then you want to see whether you need to add some spices or whether it's good enough. So, okay, we rolled the meat. We let it rest. We let it simmer again, and we meet again. Okay, until then. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here comes the fun part. You get to taste the whole thing. Now you see, it is boiling. It's not supposed to boil, it's supposed to simmer. So I'm going to turn it down. And now it is on my scale from 1 to 3, it's just half. Take a little bit of the juice. Don't get burnt in your mouth. And don't tell me you don't like it. It's, I mean, just smelling it, eating it. Ah! So, and now we put in those pork chops. And we're going to let them get heated and let it simmer, and that's it. You know, shortly before your pork belly is falling apart, then it is very tender, and this is the way you would want it. So this is still, if you poke it and it is still hard, you would wait a little bit more. So with what do you serve the sauerkraut? In Germany, usually what you do is you take out the meat, you eat the sauerkraut, and you just have boiled potatoes with it, and that's it. Or you want to have mashed potatoes, and you add some French fried, no, what are they called, those French onions? Genau. You're going to add French onions to the mashed potatoes, and you eat the sauerkraut, and you have that. The best way to eat sauerkraut, according to my husband, is when you eat it on the 1st of January. Because if you do so, you won't run out of money in the following year. So imagine the last 40 years, ever since I met my husband, what we had on the 1st of January each year, we had sauerkraut. You know what it is? It's only the best excuse when you have a hangover and you need to set your stomach straight again. You have sauerkraut. So enjoy your meal. Enjoy it on the 1st of January. That would be just perfect. Don't run out of money. And let me know whether you liked it or not. Jen, this is for you, because you told me that you had tried the schnitzel and that you liked it. So do the sauerkraut thing. It's easy to freeze. You can take out the meat and eat it cold separately with bread. That's what a lot of people do as well. If you want to have the sauerkraut for your hot dogs, then take out the meat. Let it cool, eat it with salt and pepper when it's cold. It's got a marvelous taste. Plenty of possibilities. I'm not going to keep on talking. I'm done. See what is simmering here? That's a German goulash soup. So this is what my friend and I are going to have. She helped me a lot. So it's thanks to her that you guys can see this video today. And enjoy it. Enjoy the sauerkraut and take care.